Welcome back to ASBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's Niall, just here to give a reaction to what we've seen from Selhurst Park in London, as Chris Billam-Smith has gained revenge on his domestic rival Richard Riakporhe to defend his WBO cruiserweight world title for the second time. Yeah, as I mentioned, revenge has been earned here, rightfully so, following the defeat 5 years ago, also in London at the O2 Arena, when it was Riakporhe who came out on top in a very tight decision. But it's Chris Billam-Smith who's got it done in the rematch here to, as I say, retain his world title and look ahead to big unification fights down the line. In terms of the fight itself, it was highly disappointing. It didn't catch fire like many expected it to do, and I hate to say that, but it didn't. Take nothing away from Billam-Smith getting it done, but really, really poor encounter and just such a frustrating performance from Richard Riakporhe. I'm quite shocked at how he looked there. He looked lethargic, he looked cumbersome, he looked totally devoid of ideas. I'd just love to know what his game plan was there, to be honest with you. As I mentioned, totally devoid of any sort of ideas from early on. He got a good jab going early on, and they had kind of success more often than not. The jab landed, but he wasn't looking to set anything up off the jab. He smothered his work. He looked slow, as I said, tiresome, cumbersome. Tired. Yeah, and the Hold'em was a team of the fight from early on from Reactor. To be fair, I won't say it's just Reactor. Billam-Smith was holding himself, but Reactor was clinching an awful lot, particularly early on, which got the attention of the referee. And yeah, it was just a really strange, poor performance from Richard Reactor, to be honest with you. So disappointing. Whether it, I'm thinking it could be down to a number of reasons. Obviously, he's a big man making cruiserweight, has the weight cut taken it out of him, as the occasion got to him of fighting the home ground of his beloved Crystal Palace, or has he had an injury? Because there was something that was really off about that performance from Riakporhe from start to finish, mainly, to be honest with you. I gave him 2 rounds. I think that's the most he could have given him. The scorecards did not reflect that, but we'll get to that in a while. So yeah, that was a poor showing. It really was, and he'll kick himself. It really take a while to get over that. In terms of Billam-Smith, I'm not going to take anything away from Chris Billam-Smith. He fought well there. He done what he had to do. It was a really disciplined performance. He stuck to his game plan well. His own jab worked well. Good boxing. Mix of shots up to head and body. As I mentioned, he engaged in clinching himself. But he was able to work out of it and work kind of positions for himself to get his shots off in those clinches better than Richard Riakporhe. And yeah, he stuck to the game plan so well, and he just outworked him. He outworked Riakporhe. No frills performance, never really is with Billam-Smith. He is a disciplined fellow. What you see is what you get, style wise. But he stuck to that game plan, and he done what he needed to do. He done exactly what he needed to do to get the job done. Yeah, as I said, I gave Richard Riakporhe 2 rounds there. I gave him the first round, from the jab, solid jab, which did have success, but it was just all single shots. When he'd have success on the jab, he wouldn't follow it up with anything. He didn't look to kind of, when he threw hooks and landed hooks, he didn't look to follow it up with anything else. He didn't look to set those traps. He looked so plodding there tonight. Yeah, it was an unfortunate performance from Richard Riakporhe, but yeah, his best round of the fight came in the ninth round, a huge round from where he hurt Billam-Smith on a number of occasions. Yeah, he looked to really have him hurt, landed a couple of really big right hands that caught the attention of the champion, but wasn't able to follow it up. Credit to Billam-Smith, rode it out really well, rode out that storm really well, and showed that he's a great chin. Of course, Richard Riakporhe's probably biggest strength is his punching power, and he took big shots in that ninth round, and didn't go down, and didn't look overly troubled either. Wasn't on really shaky legs, but they did hurt him. But he rode out the storm well, and it looked like could that be the changing of the tide, even though it was still late down the stretch for Richard Riakporhe. No, it wasn't. Unfortunately, he came out in the 10th round and went back to being as flat as he had been for the rest of the fight. Couldn't follow it up. Didn't give him the confidence that ninth round that people thought it would have. Billam-Smith got back to the game plan, executed it really well, and yeah, just overall outworked Richard Riakporhe there for a decision, a unanimous decision with scorecards that I couldn't really believe of 116, 111, and 115, 112 times two. Just crazy, crazy cards there. The right winner was named, thankfully, but wow, even 116, 111 for me is too close. Never mind 115, 112. I don't know how the judges came to that conclusion that it could be that close, but the right winner was named in Chris Billam-Smith, and yeah, he's defended his world title for the second time that he won last year from Lawrence Okolie. Of course, Okolie up now as a Bridgerweight world champion, but Billam-Smith won the title, defended it against Masternak, and defended it again for a second time tonight in a huge win for him against Richard Riakporhe, as he has avenged his defeat from 5 years ago. The only defeat on his record. Yeah, the only defeat in his record. So he has beaten every man he stepped in the ring with now. So that's a huge boost for him. And we've seen how much it meant to him at the end of the fight, the celebrations, especially going into the Lions Den in Selhurst Park. The crowd would have been against him there, the home of Crystal Palace, Richard Riakporhe's kind of beloved football team. So yeah, he done a great job in silence in that crowd, especially early. Riakporhe played his part in silence in the crowd himself, to be honest, unfortunately for them early on. But yeah, credit to Billam-Smith, he's got it done. An underdog tonight, by the way, so even more credit to him. It's unusual you get that as a world champion, kind of being an underdog in a title defense, especially a fighter as good as Chris Billam-Smith. But yeah, he got it done, and it's all credit to him. It was a big win in his career. So yeah, that's my reaction to the fight. The question will be now, what's next? And there's a lot of really interesting options for Chris Billam-Smith. It's a real fascinating division, cruiserweight, when you look at the rankings. Even though it's not the days of Alexander Usyk, Gassiev, Breedis at his best, Dorticus at his best. Although those two names I mentioned at the end there are still around. But it is tasty. Of course, you've got Joy Opetaia, the IBF champion. You've got the WBC champion Noel Mikhailian, and you've got the WBA champion Zurdo Ramirez. So I think it will be unification next for Chris Billam-Smith. And I think, all those fights are really interesting. But I do think it's going to be Joy Opetaia. That is the kind of strong rumor that the September Wembley card, you know, uh, put on by His Excellency, will feature Joy Opetaia chasing the WBO title now against the winner of this fight, which has turned out to be Chris Billam-Smith. So yeah, Joy Opetaia has family ties to the WBO title, so that seems to be the one he wants to go for. So if I had to put money on it, I'd say that that is looking likely to be next. Yeah, in terms of the kind of outlook on that one, Opetaia will be the favourite. And rightly so. It'd be interesting to see how big of a favourite he'd be. His stock was as high as it could be after he beat Jordan Thompson and Elizarro. He had a hard time for the last time out against an aging Maris Breeder. Still got it done, but has that kind of made people rethink, the opinion that he would kind of blow through everybody in the cruiserweight division. Who knows? But he would be favoured there, and rightly so. But be an intriguing fight. It really would. Billam-Smith and Joy Opetaia could Billam-Smith kind of dictate that pace like he was allowed to do tonight against Opetaia, and kind of not spoil it, but offset the Australian, or Opetaia. A lot of people would say if Opetaia had Chris Billam-Smith as hurt as Riakporhe did in the ninth round, he wouldn't let him off the hook as easy as that, and I tend to agree. And he has the power to hurt him, but he also has the killer instinct to go for the finish and get him out of there. So if I had to pick a winner there, I'd say Apatoya for me. I'd say Apatoya decision, fairly wide decision. Billam-Smith proved tonight he can take a shot, he can take a big shot and keep coming. So yeah, Apatoya for me in that one, and I do think it'll happen. The other fighters, as I mentioned, the other champions, Noel Mikhailian, Zurdo Ramirez, winnable fights, really winnable fights for Chris Billam-Smith. Mikhailian, he wouldn't be a champion to be feared. He wouldn't. There's no disrespect there. There's really not, none intended. He's a good fighter, but so is Chris Billam-Smith. He really is. So that's a winnable fight, and Zurdo is a winnable fight for him as well. I really like Zurdo. He's proven recently why he should have done a lot more than he has. In his career, what 50 odd fights now, for mid 40s, 50 odd fights. But he's a quality fighter up at cruiserweight now. He's beaten Joe Smith over the last couple of years, beating Arsene Goulamarian to win the world title at cruiserweight. So that'll be a fascinating fight and a very even fight for me. I'd probably this might get me a lot of flack, but I'd probably favour Billam-Smith against Mikhailian and Zurdo. I really would. I like Billam-Smith. He might not be the most pleasing on the eye, but yeah, they're options for him, and I think he will get a unification next. I really do. As I mentioned, I think it'll be Opataya, but if not, hopefully one of the other names mentioned. There's also, there's good fighters. There's the likes of Breedis, who aren't title holders. Alexei Papan, Vlad Arsic, Chieslak, who was supposed to fight for the European, defend his European title tonight against Isaac Chamberlain, who, Chieslak was forced to pull out. We seen what happened there. The late replacement, Jack Massey, stepping in to beat Chamberlain to claim the Commonwealth and European Cruiserweight title. So, yeah, if Chieslak goes down the route of fighting Jack Massey, who knows? But he could be next in line for a Chris Billam-Smith in a defence. He's highly ranked with the WBO, as is another veteran Polish fighter, Vlad Archik. Tough as they come, and Billam-Smith should be beaten with dealing with that level of fighter. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Breedis will be another good one. Proved last time now, even though he's aging. He's still a handful. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting fight. He's definitely capable. Breeders coming back and winning the world title again in this cruiserweight division. I'm certain of it. I really like Maris Breeders, so that'll be a possible option. There's also domestic rivals. Chev Clark is there, climbing his way up the rankings as well. So who knows? Jack Massey, as I mentioned, another big domestic fight that'll be after his huge win tonight. The new Commonwealth and European champion. So there's a lot of really interesting options in a very interesting cruiserweight division. So if I had to pick, I think it's Alpataya next, and I think I'd say September in Wembley, but he's taken a bit of damage to his face tonight, Chris Billam-Smith. So how long that takes to heal up, who knows? But I do think if it's not Wembley, it will be Alpataya still. But there's a lot of fascinating options, and a lot of really kind of even 50-50 fights there, whether it be with champions or someone else. So yeah, who knows what's next for the WBO Cruiserweight champion, Chris Billam-Smith, in his hunt for undisputed status and unifications in the future at Cruiserweight. Yeah, that's all we have time for on this one. So yeah, that was just my reaction to what we've seen from Selhurst Park this evening, as Chris Billam-Smith has defended his WBO Cruiserweight title for the second time, getting revenge on domestic rival Richard Riakporhe, 5 years now from their first bout, winning a decision tonight. And as I say, just kicks himself on now towards huge unification fights with the other champions at 200 pounds. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes next. So let us know what you think in the comments. What did you make of the fight? Both men's performances, were you as disappointed with Riakporhe as I was? Can he come again? Of course, we didn't touch on that, but he can. He'll have to up the levels, but losses shouldn't define fighters like that. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. And as always, don't forget, drop us a like on the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media. Always great content coming up, interviews, reviews, previews, especially with a good schedule now over the summer of boxing. So, yeah, thanks for that and take care.